Boundaries, bolted doors, and a note that sparked a meltdown. Let me take you back to the moment it all cracked wide open. I was sitting alone in my apartment at 4:52 in the morning, sipping lukewarm coffee and listening to the increasingly frantic knocking on my front door. I had silenced my phone an hour earlier, couldn't bear to watch the screen light up again. It was buzzing like a hornet's nest with missed calls, angry texts, and crying emojis. On the other side of my door was Megan, my girlfriend of 2 years. Or rather, my ex-28, stubborn as hell, stunning, social, and completely incapable of respecting even the most basic boundaries. It's funny. When she first moved in 8 months ago, it didn't feel like a risk. We talked about the important stuff, responsibilities, expectations, shared expenses, household roles. Megan had been living with a crew of party girls before that, Tessa and her wild crew, and she told me straight up, she was ready for something more adult. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. We had quiet evenings in, cooked meals together, curled up to Netflix marathons. Felt solid. Then, around 2 months ago, the shift began. Subtle at first. Her old roommate Tessa went through a breakup, and suddenly Megan was needed again. Emergency girls' nights turned into weekly routines. Once a week became twice, then 3. Her comebacks got later, from midnight to 2 a.m., then 4 a.m., then sometimes not at all. I was patient, probably too patient. I gave her room, reminded myself that we all need outlets and support systems. But last Friday broke something in me. She left at 9 p.m. sharp, heels in hand, looking like she was ready to hit every bar in the city. "Tessa needs me tonight," she said. "Don't wait up." I asked her when she'd be back. She just shrugged. "Late, probably." Late turned into non-existent. I texted 5 times. Called twice. Nothing. Straight to voicemail. I went to bed around 3 a.m. with that awful pit in your stomach. That morning, I tried one last time to have a grown-up conversation. I wasn't even mad, I was exhausted. I told her that when you live with someone, there are expectations. Not controlling demands, not rules. Just respect. A text. A call. An estimated time of return. It's not about permission. It's about decency. That's when she hit me with it. She rolled her eyes so hard. I swear I could hear them creak in their sockets. "You're not my father," she snapped. "I don't need a curfew. I'm a grown woman." I looked at her and simply said, "I know." She seemed surprised that I didn't argue. Maybe she expected a fight, a lecture, a plea. But I'd already done all that. Instead, she kissed my cheek absently, muttered something about needing to sleep, and passed out face down on the couch. I spent all of Saturday thinking about what she said. And she was right about one thing anyway. I wasn't her father. But what she failed to consider was this. I was her landlord. You see, this apartment, it's mine. I bought it 3 years ago when the housing market dipped. She's not on the lease, not on the deed, not listed anywhere official. She Venmo'd me $800 a month to cover what she called her half. A number that doesn't even scratch the surface of my actual costs. But I let it slide because I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be generous. I wanted us to work. Saturday night, she did it again. No heads up. No message. Just got dressed in her usual girls' night out outfit, crop top, skirt, heels, and slipped out while I was in the shower. Found a note on the counter. "Tessa, don't be weird about it." Weird about it? I was done being weird about it. The moment the door clicked behind her, I opened YouTube and learned how to install a deadbolt and chain lock in under an hour. At sunrise on Sunday, I headed to Home Depot, bought a heavy-duty deadbolt that locks from the inside, a steel chain for extra flair, and a signable notice template just for the poetic flair of it. That night, she blew. Step 1, deadbolt engaged. Step 2, chain lock fastened. Step 3, typed up a note and taped it to the outside of the door. Step 4, grabbed my packed overnight bag. Step 5, slipped out the back entrance. Step 6, drove to Connor's place, cracked a beer, and pulled up my Ring app. At 4:30 a.m., right on cue, she arrived. I watched the footage like a director admiring a long-anticipated scene. Megan tried her key, turned, but the deadbolt held firm. She stood there for a second, staring at the door. Then she saw the note. Megan, you're right. You're not a child, and I'm not your father. However, I am your landlord. And as such, I require tenants who respect shared spaces, basic boundaries, and common decency. Your belongings will be available for pickup Monday between 2 to 4 p.m. Text me to confirm the time. The guy who's not your father. The reaction was Oscar-worthy. Confusion. Rage. More confusion. Rereading. Angry knocking. Then the calls began. Then the sobbing. Then the screaming. I let the phone buzz and buzz while watching her through the camera, curled up by the door like some tragic scene in a rom-com gone wrong. Monday, 1:45 p.m. She showed up for the pickup window. But not alone. She brought an entourage. Tessa, Jade, a dude I didn't recognize who looked like he was trying too hard to look intimidating, and her mom on FaceTime, Karen, in all her pearl-wearing church fundraiser glory. I met them outside. Megan's things were boxed neatly by the door. This is ridiculous, she started, arms folded. It's not your apartment, I replied evenly. It never was. Karen chimed in. Young man, this is highly inappropriate. You can't just throw my daughter onto the street. You're right. You're not a child, and I'm not your father. However, I am your landlord. And as such, I require tenants who respect shared spaces, basic boundaries, and common decency. Your belongings will be available for pickup Monday between 2 to 4 p.m. Text me to confirm the time. The guy who's not your father. The reaction was Oscar-worthy. Confusion. Rage. More confusion. Rereading. Angry knocking. Then the calls began. Then the sobbing. Then the screaming. I let the phone buzz and buzz while watching her through the camera, curled up by the door like some tragic scene in a rom-com gone wrong. Monday, 1:45 p.m. She showed up for the pickup window. But not alone. She brought an entourage. Tessa, Jade, a dude I didn't recognize who looked like he was trying too hard to look intimidating, and her mom on FaceTime, Karen, in all her pearl-wearing church fundraiser glory. I met them outside. Megan's things were boxed neatly by the door. This is ridiculous, she started, arms folded. It's not your apartment, I replied evenly. It never was. Karen chimed in. Young man, this is highly inappropriate. You can't just throw my daughter onto the street. I'm not throwing her anywhere. I'm ending an informal arrangement. The random guy stepped forward. Bro, let her get her stuff. We can talk like adults. She's getting her stuff. Right here. Megan's voice cracked. You went through my things. I packed what was obviously yours. Anything questionable is in the miscellaneous box. You're welcome. She threatened to call the cops. I encouraged it. You'll just be helping me prove she was never on the lease, never paid rent, and never had legal residency here. The cherry on top, when she tried to claim she'd paid rent via Venmo, all the notes read groceries, utilities, or wine money. Nothing resembling tenancy. Her own aversion to formality bit her in the ass. Her intimidation squad loaded her boxes in silence while she spiraled. But where am I supposed to go? By Tuesday morning, I thought it was over. She'd picked up her things. She'd cried. She'd screamed. Her little squad had huffed and puffed but ultimately loaded up her boxes and driven off. I changed the passcode on my smart lock, put fresh sheets on my bed, and went to work actually feeling like I had oxygen in my lungs again. But, of course, Megan wasn't done. Not even close. At 7 a.m., just as I was brushing my teeth for work, I heard some kind of commotion outside. I looked through the peephole and froze. There she was, Megan, waving her arms like a madwoman while talking to two uniformed police officers in front of my building. I walked out calmly, already knowing what this circus was about. Sir, one of the officers said, this young woman claims she was illegally evicted from this residence. I nodded. Got it. Do you want to see the deed? It's in my name. She's never been on the lease, never paid formal rent, and has no legal documentation of residency. Ma'am, the other officer said, turning to Megan, do you have any proof? A lease? Bills? Even official mail. She fumbled with her phone. I changed my address here last month. After living here how long? 8 months. The officers looked at each other. They were already skeptical. Megan pulled up her Venmo history, trying to show the rent payments, but the officers zoomed in on the notes. Pizza, Netflix, wine night, groceries. Officer number 2 raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, nothing here indicates you paid rent. UTI lived there. That doesn't create tenant rights without documentation. And just like that, they left. Megan screamed something about misogyny and male privilege before stomping down the sidewalk in full view of my Ring camera. But the next act of her petty revenge campaign was waiting just around the corner. That afternoon, I got a call from my building manager. David, he said cautiously, we received an anonymous tip that you may be operating an unlicensed Airbnb from your
No lease. No rent receipts.
no tenant rights. The apartment is separate property purchased before the relationship. She had been asked to leave and had removed her belongings voluntarily. Any continued harassment would result in a restraining order. An hour later, I got a text from the same unknown number. Upon review, we will not be pursuing this matter further. Case closed, or so I thought. Thursday was quiet. Too quiet. Friday morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls. Not from Megan. From my credit card company. Sir, did you authorize a $3,200 purchase at luxandybags.com? My blood went cold. I opened the credit card app. 5 purchases. Designer handbags, luxury shoes, jewelry. Nearly $8,000 gone in 12 hours. It hit me like a truck. Megan had saved my card details on her laptop from when she used to order food for us. I never asked her to, and she never deleted it. She'd waited until her fake lawyer ploy failed, and then went full scorched earth. I called the fraud department, froze everything, filed a dispute, and then texted her. Me using my credit card is fraud. Return everything or I'm filing a police report. Megan, I don't know what you're talking about. Me, orders were shipped to Tessa's address. I have the receipts. Prove it wasn't you. She went silent. I filed a police report the same hour and attached the evidence.